and welcome to my most intimidating books on my TBR video. So I have a lot of intimidating books on my TBR, some because they're really chunky, some because they're really well loved, I guess you could say, so I'm scared to go in them in case I don't like them, so I thought I'd make a video all about it. First one I have to mention is not a specific book, it's an author, and that is Jemisin, because she's such a booktube famous author and everybody loves her, and I'm scared to get into her in case I don't like her work, essentially. Also, most of her work I feel like is high fantasy, and I'm still very new to high fantasy. The only high fantasy I really read at the moment is Brandon Sanderson, obviously, so I'm slightly worried to go into her work. I'm sure it'll be fine. I know it'll be fine because she's so well loved. I'm sure I'll love her too, but I'm just slightly worried at the moment. Just a little bit worried. I'm sure it'll be fine. I just have to bite the bullet, but I'm just at the moment a little scared to go into Jemisin, not gonna lie. I've also got Patrick Ness's The Knife of Letting Go on this because it's a chunky book. I've got the entire series on one of my shelves and each one of them is massive. So I am slightly scared to go into these. The reason why I bought these is because of the film adaptation starring Tom Holland. I really love Tom Holland as an actor, so naturally I'm going to be watching the film when it eventually comes out, if it comes out, but I wanted the book as well just so I was sort of ready to watch the film, I guess you could say, and the more I look at it, the more scared I get because that is quite chunky. Next is The Name of the Wind because of the size of it, also because of the hype surrounding it as well, because obviously this is a booktube favourite for a lot of people. A lot of people I follow really love this series, and I haven't started it yet because of the hype and because of the size of it. Admittedly, this year I've kind of put most big books to the side because I've been reading Brandon Sanderson and they are big enough without trying to read other big books in between them, but I am still scared of this, and I think I'm just sort of putting it too much in my head that it's going to be really big and really intimidating when literally this is half the size of the average Stormlight Archive book, which I'm currently reading, so it shouldn't be that bad, but just looking at it scares me, essentially. Just really scares me. I'm also slightly scared I'm not going to like it. It's a high fantasy again. I'm still very not used to high fantasy, so I think there's a bit of fear of high fantasy and also fear of the size of it and fear of the hype of this book, essentially. I've also got Middle Game on this list simply because size, like all of them essentially, but also because I really like Shannon's Wayward Children series, and I'm scared I'm not going to like this one. I don't know why. I really don't know why. Maybe because it's a brand new series, but I'm just slightly scared this isn't going to be for me. I don't know why I'm thinking that though, because I really like Wayward Children, and generally people who really like Wayward Children really like this one, so I'm sure it'll be fine, but I'm still a bit sort of worried and a bit intimidated to the point where I'm just putting it off, essentially. Just slightly putting it off at the moment. I've also got City of Brass on this list, which I have admittedly tried to promise myself that I may get to before the end of the year, but who knows if that actually happens. But this is such a hyped book, and I've seen several different bits of mixed reviews on this. Some people really love it, some people are iffy on it, and the most things they are iffy about the romance, and generally the romance is what is a deal breaker for me anyway in books, because I'm not really a romance in books type of girl. So I'm very intimidated by this one. I'm very scared of it because I want to like it. I really want to like it. It's just the romance that may trip me up on this one. I've also got the Darkening Rising sequence on here. Now obviously I can take this as slow as I want because this is the bind up, so I can read as many or a few stories in one go as I want to. But I'm still very scared of it because I remember loving the film as a kid and starting reading this then stopping for some reason. I've got no idea why I stopped, but I just remember reading some of this, but I remember nothing from it, apart from I enjoyed it, I think. So now I'm scared to go back in again and possibly hate it, essentially. I'm very worried, essentially, because I quite enjoyed this as a kid and I don't want to hate it now. I had this with Matilda, and after reading Matilda and not liking Matilda as an adult, I'm scared of all children's books and all books I read as a kid that I'm not going to like them now, essentially. I feel like that's just, Matilda's psyched me out, essentially, in terms of that, so slightly worried on this front. I've also got Aragon, and I can tell you just how old this book version is because there's literally a banner on it saying win tickets to your own private premiere, and then it's saying that the sequel is coming out in September 2006. That's how old this book is. It's a very old book, so I'm slightly worried again because this was a bestseller. I know so many people who love it, and I haven't read it. I've watched the film. I didn't enjoy the film, so now I'm worried about going into the series. And finally we have The Girl King, and essentially, again, size. And I'm pretty sure the reason why I'm so scared of like big books, even though I'm reading Brandon Sanderson right now, is because Sanderson's on Kindle. So I physically cannot hold how big the book is, and I can't see how big the book is. I can just go by how far I'm into it, and that's fine. Whereas books like this, I can physically see it, and I can physically go, oh, that's a big book, and run away from it, essentially. I run away from big books. I really shouldn't, but there we go. But yeah, I've had this book now since January last year, and I just still haven't read it yet. And it's because I'm slightly intimidated by it, despite the fact that this has not had any hype on it whatsoever. I haven't seen any reviews of it either, and that just slightly worries me. But at the same time, I read The Girl King this year and really enjoyed it, and that had no reviews whatsoever on it either, like that I've seen on BookTube or anywhere else. So this is probably going to be fine. I'm probably going to really enjoy this book. I just need to pull my finger out and actually read it and stop being intimidated by it because I haven't heard anything about it, and because it's quite chunky. And to be honest, I think that's just the moral of this video, is to just stop worrying about intimidating books either because they're really chunky or really overhyped or I haven't heard anything about them. I should just bite the bullet and go into them because I bought them for a reason, so I should probably read them. But with that revelation, I'm going to leave it here. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below with some of the books you're intimidated by. I'd love to know. I'll also leave a link down below to all my social media if you want to check it out. If you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here. And over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time, everyone, bye!